This is one of those ones where it's like Vegas. Yo, Anthony, close Discord. Just shut it down. Shut it down. What's going on with this? Shut it down.
Yeah.
That's the keep hearing it.
Yeah, close it.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you. I didn't realize it was going off. it is off. That's the fucked up part. Maybe it's my actual phone.
Your phone makes that noise? What kind of a lunatic are you?
No, that's my laptop, but it's shut down, which makes no sense. What kind of a lunatic are you?
Like, who uses notification sounds? It's 2022, bro. It's 2022. What are we talking about?
So I don't know how to I'm trying here.
Yo, bro.
It's shut. Like, I closed the app down, but it still makes the noise. So tell me how that works.
Bro.
No, look.
I got it.
No normal person.
Yeah,
just sits there and lets the notifications just go off like that.
Just
something's wrong with you, bro. No normal person just goes about their life and their day and sits at their computer and just like searches Google and like buys fucking popcorn or whatever with those going off constantly. Are you all right, man? God damn. Anyway, if I could just get back to my goddamn point, Vegas, there's something about this game. Something's fishy, bro. Week 7 in the Always Sunday Football Podcast. DC in the City, joined as always by Jonny. How's it going, Jonny?
Doing well. Good to see you guys.
How are the Yankees doing?
They're playing like absolute dog shit. Actually, they're not playing like dog shit. It's just the bullpen's hurt. It's typical Yankee fashion, but got to represent my team. So I will be watching to the end. Unfortunately, it might happen in the Bronx.
True. Anthony, welcome. How you doing?
How we doing, fam? How's everybody living? We all right?
Did you just hit a Sammy Sosa home run? Is that what that was?
That was. I just hit a walkthrough. You know what I'm saying? That was my walk-in.
Baseball season still baseball.
It was a mixture of whatever felt right at the moment.
It's only baseball season for a couple more days, boys, but it's football season for the rest of the football season. So let's get right into it. It's week 7. Let's take a look back at our 3-pick parlay from last week before we get into this week's lines. What do you say? Anthony, how'd you do?
I did absolutely atrocious. I'm better off saying I forgot them, and I'll take the O. But I had Jags money line, which is something John and I remember having, and they lost. I had Bills and Chiefs going over the 54, I think it was, and it didn't. And I had the Chargers cover in the spread, which I think was 4 or 5.5, and they didn't. It was a 3. John had Jags money line, Jets money line, and something else, and you hit on the Jets. I remember that.
John hit on the Jets money line. Nice job. You did have the Jags money line, and you lost that one. And you had the Niners laying 5 points, and you lost that one as well. You went 1 for 3. I went 2 for 3. Okay, I had the Patriots money line. I had the Eagles laying the points, and I did lay the points with the Packers. I was dead wrong on that one. I thought the Packers were going to come out and smash, but the Packers are actually bad, ladies and gentlemen.
It's another one of those coaching situations, man. It's
they're actually bad.
You have your Aaron Jones, and you're like, nah, I'm not going to use that guy.
It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Fire so many coaches. Fire them. Fire so many of them. Okay, give me one.
Hire the guy who got Christian McCaffrey. Get that guy.
So let's get into this week's games, shall we? Put together our parlay for this week. Let's just start with the Giants and Jags. Since, Jonny, you're going to be going to the Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium to take in this game in person, the Jaguars are favored in this game by 3 points with a 43-point line. The 5-1 Giants are going on the road to Jacksonville to face the Jaguars. And they are 3-point underdogs. Johnny, make sense of this for me.
It doesn't make sense. The Jacksonville is falling apart. They went from smoking the Colts to getting the under end of the foot. I think this team is trying to figure out its identity. If they want to make a statement, this is the game. But give me the points for the Giants in this game.
Anthony, your Giants are road dogs.
They're the Road Warriors, okay? And they're give me the Giants money line. Okay, and give me the over on this 43.
Okay, yeah, I can see the over there. Now, why are the Jacksonville Jaguars favored in this game? Something's fishy. Like, there's something going on here. I'm taking the Jaguars in this game. Moving on. Packers, Commanders. Commanders are at home. They're home dogs, 4.5 points. Both of these teams are actually bad. And there's a 41.5 point line. When was the last time a Packers game had a 41.5 point line? I mean, it's disgusting. John, convince me to watch this game.
This is a game that you want to avoid at all costs, but I think that this is going to be running the football like you wouldn't freaking believe. Lots of running the football, lots of Aaron Jones, lots of David Robinson. Loving this for fantasy purposes for myself. But give me Green Bay laying the points here. And I'm going to go with the under.
Anthony? David Robinson? The Admiral?
It's
Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson, sorry.
We're going to let that one go there. Yeah, they're going to win with him. Yeah, I would, like John's original statement, I would just stay away from this game. It's just it's just trash. You don't go looking in the trash. So I'm gonna close the lid on this one.
Fair. I mean, that's fair. Yeah, I can't really bet on the Packers anymore. They're bad. Packers are actually bad. So guess what? Give me the Commanders. They're starting Taylor Heineke this week. They're gonna get that Heineke. They're gonna get that new man juice, and they're gonna come out and they're gonna cover that spread. I don't know if they're gonna win. They're gonna cover that spread at home. Let's do this. Cleveland Browns visiting the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens 6.5 point favorites, 46 point line. Browns, Ravens. Guess what, guys? I want to watch this game. I'm excited about it.
Ooh, this is a tough one.
Points.
Yeah, it's all going to be points with this game. But Cleveland's been better than what people think. That's the surprise, I think, this year. And with Sean, over City all day. I think that this game is going to be high scoring. Can Lamar Jackson not shit himself at the end of the game and lose the game is the question.
Hey,
I do agree on the over. I see this one being a shootout. I'm gonna go with the Browns and the points. I think the Ravens are gonna win this game, but I think it's gonna be a shootout and it's gonna be a close one.
Fair. See, I'll take the Ravens and an over just because the one thing in this game that I don't like is Jacoby Brissett. That's the biggest problem for me. Is Brissett is starting to come apart. He's starting to get exposed. Falcons visiting the Bengals, another 6.5 point line. Bengals are favored at home, and this one is 47 points, 47 point total.
They tell you what, they started off rough. They got us all a little worried, Then they starting to come back at it a little bit. And against the Falcons here, I mean, Mariota's kind of spiced our life up a little bit, but I'm going to take the Bengals laying the points here, and I'm going to go with the under here, slightly under.
Interesting. I'm going to go with the over on this game. I think Atlanta knows how to put some points up on the board. Give or take, Atlanta of recently has been playing a lot better football. Marcus Mariota has been using his feet a little bit more to extend some plays. That's that. I'm taking give me Cincy this game, but I really think that Atlanta's going to be scoring some points this game, and I also think that Cincinnati's defense is going to be up for a rude awakening. That Atlanta's a little bit better than they think they are, but I think Cincy's going to pull this game out. But give me the over on this game.
Didn't Atlanta win last week?
They did.
So they are now undefeated against the spread so far this season. I'm going to take Atlanta, and I'll take the points. I'm gonna bet on them to continue to cover spreads, and I will take the over in this game as well. And I will watch this game too. Like the Giants Jaguars, that's fun. John, you'll be there. You'll be watching that one, obviously. Packers Commanders, not gonna watch it. I'm just gonna hold my nose and look at what Aaron Jones has at the end, and probably be upset about it. But I can't watch that team anymore. The Browns, Ravens, and Falcons, Bengals, those are going to be good games. Looking forward to it. Now, here's an interesting one, but not for the reason of the actual game. Panthers at home, 13-point, John's face, 13-point dogs to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They just traded away Robbie Anderson and Christian McCaffrey.
Carolina pressed the reset button is what happened. They're going for the draft next year. They most likely are trying to aim for that number 1 overall pick. I think Carolina is the worst team in the league after this week, just from a talent standpoint. They're going to be looking for a new head coach. I don't see Carolina winning another game this year.
Fair. So here's the big question. With 39.5 point over under and a 13-point spread, would you take the Bucs or the Panthers if you had to bet on this game? Do you think they're going to keep it within 13?
I don't think they're going to keep it in 13.
Anthony, What do you think?
No, I'm going to take the Bucs, and I'm going to go under. Actually, they're just going to score a bunch of points, and the Panthers are going to score 3. They're going to have field goals. So,
I would say, I'll probably lay the points with the Buccaneers as well. I would say under as well. The big question, guys: yes or no answer. Does DJ Moore get traded before the deadline, John?
No, I think that he's a cornerstone for this team. Whatever quarterback they're planning on drafting, DJ Moore is the part of their future.
They did come out and make that statement, yeah.
Yeah, but I am going to say this, that Carolina's defense is a little bit better than what people think. I think their defense is is decent.
They helped them in games.
Yeah, they have, absolutely. My boy Miles Hartfield from Sayreville.
Anthony, do you think Moore gets traded or not? I mean, they did. It's true. They did come out and say he's a foundation piece of their.
You would think like they would keep one of their pieces, right? But from the way they've used him, it doesn't look like they were like caring too much in it. But like the past 2 weeks, he's gotten twice the amount of targets that he's had from the first 4 games. So yeah, I mean they're gonna have to keep something, If they feel like maybe they see something that everybody else doesn't, or they figure, let me grab some high points for McCaffrey now.
Also a salary dump.
Salary dump and a running back is definitely sort of a player you don't want to spend on as opposed to a wide receiver. So yeah, I can see him staying there as well. Cowboys at home, 6.5 point favorites against the Detroit Lions, who have been fun. It's a 49-point line. Anthony, how about them Cowboys?
So, the Lions were just were giving us so much excitement, but just can't hold it together. They could score points, but they let people walk in. Dak's coming back this week, so I'm gonna take the boys laying the points and this going over 49.
I'm gonna go with the same. I think that this is going to be a shootout. Lots of points. Actually, you know what? Give me the points for the Cowboys, but let me do the under. Dak is coming back. This offense needs to kind of figure out its identity. Detroit right now is not playing really good football. They didn't score a lot of points last week. I have this game being more low scoring than what people think.
Detroit actually, you're right, John, scored 0 points last week.
Yeah.
So that's because they were on bye. But anyway, I think that the Cowboys will win this game and cover, but I do think the under as well. The Detroit Lions are getting back, remember, though, Swift and Amon-Ra. They're all coming out of the bye. hopefully fresh. So if they're gonna resume their high scoring ways, it'll be this week. But the Cowboys defense is really, really good. Colts visiting the Titans, 2.5-point home favorites are the Titans with a 42-point line. I don't really have a good feel on the Titans yet this year, I don't think, honestly. Like, I just don't know what they are. John, do you have any feel?
Actually, I think this game's going to be more interesting than what people think. Matt Ryan played a great game last week. It seems like this offense is a little bit clicking. Let's see if Jonathan is Jonathan Taylor playing next week?
He's supposed to play. He's supposed to be healthy, and he's practicing in full, as is Naeem Hines.
Yes. Also, Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, that team, they're starting to play a little bit better. This game is gonna. This game, I think that this game is gonna be the game of the week. This is a game to watch. I honestly, I do. I think that both these teams are going to surprise you. This is going to be high scoring, and give me the over on this game, but give me the Colts on the spread.
Oh, so you're gonna take the points with the Colts. Interesting.
I actually see it going over the 42. The Colts have been wishy-washy. According to John, everybody's really just looking for their identity. So, but the Titans, same. If Derrick Henry can get going, and if they can get a little bit of that passing game, they can score some points. I like that over 42, and I'll take the Colts getting the points.
In that case, you know what? See, you guys have kind of convinced me on the over, but I am going to go against you, and I will take the Titans and lay the points. I don't know why. Like I said, I have no feel for the Titans.
No idea.
No, they're at home. That's all I got. Jets going to Denver.
Ooh.
Now, here's another interesting one. Now, we mentioned earlier that the Giants going to Jacksonville were 3-point road dogs. The Jets, 4-2, going to Denver, who have been just an abject dumpster fire. They are 1-point road dogs, the Jets. And Russell Wilson was injured, his thigh or something, his quad. And it was like, he's not going to play. He's going to be out multiple weeks. And now he's saying, I've got Wolverine blood. I'll be playing this week. What the hell is going on in Denver, John?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not worried about the offense. I'm worried about Denver's defense because they are absolutely for real. Every time Denver plays another team, whoever their star player is, shut out. Also, the Jets don't have Elijah Moore. That's a weapon that you want to have. I'm a little bit worried about the Jets this game because I'm not sure what the offense is. I trust the defense more. I think it's going to be a very, very, very low-scoring game, this game. This is going to be the battle of the defenses, so give me the under on this. But give me somehow, some way that the Jets pull this out.
Yeah, I could see the under too, and as much as the Broncos are absolute trash, their record is okay, and that's just because of their defense and their defense alone. It's kept them in games. The Jets have been looking good. I don't care, Elijah Moore, but they've been working around Breece Hall, and he's been lighting it up. I'll take the Jets getting that point, and I'll stay with the under.
Same. I will also take the Jets and take the point with the under as well. Breece Hall is pretty legit. I texted Danny Mac yesterday, and I said, I, for one, am shocked that a Zach Wilson offense cannot support two young, budding, elite wide receivers. I, for one, I can't believe that Zach Wilson doesn't have the ability to orchestrate an offense that can support two and keep two receivers that are that good happy. Wow. And so it sucks, but I'm glad that they're keeping him because he makes that offense better and he's more valuable to that team. Give me the Jets. Give me the under there. And the Broncos, if Russell Wilson plays, the Jets defense in DFS, I believe, is pretty cheap. Texans visiting the Raiders. Raiders are 7-point home favorites, and there's a 46-point over-under on this one. John, I know you really are into the Raiders. You got to think they're going to win this one, no?
No, actually, this game, if you want some money mania, I'm gonna
Oh,
take the money line. We have not talked money lines at all this week. Well, give me the money line for Houston.
Wow. So this is your upset of the week.
Yes.
Anthony, what do you
John,
think?
John's been fucking perfect with them, man. I mean, he
Nailed
got
it.
it right, but he's literally picked one every single week that we literally told him, "Oh, okay, bro," and he's got it right. I don't see this one, because that's what I say every week. I'm gonna take the Raiders laying the 7. I'll take the under.
Yeah, see, I like the Texans, as we've said. So I'm gonna take the Texans, but I'm gonna take the points. I don't feel as comfortable with the money line, but the Texans are frisky and they're starting to sort of like round into form. I'll take the points because I don't think the Texans want to win games. We've talked about that, but I do think that they'll keep it close. They'll keep it competitive and then find a way to lose it at the end. This this game this game should be really good. Chiefs visiting 49ers. The 49ers are 1.5-point home dogs. Just got a shiny new toy in Christian McCaffrey, who some people are saying might play a limited amount of snaps, maybe a red zone package. Some people are saying might not play. It's a little too early to tell. It's Friday night. We'll know on Sunday whether he's going to play a little bit. I kind of hope he does. It should be fun. 1.5-point home dogs are the Niners with a 49-point line.
If McCaffrey played the whole like he was ready, the whole game, I take the
No
Niners.
ifs. No ifs.
Give me the Niners money line.
Nice. Look at you. Pushing his chips in the middle of the table. What about you, John?
And the
I'm gonna
over.
lay the lay the points with Kansas City, and I'm gonna go with the over in this game.
Okay, so you got money line Niners. You got Kansas City. Both of you guys over.
Yeah.
I think I might have to agree with you. I think I have to go over here as well if I had to pick, although this one kind of scares me because it is kind of high. And the Chiefs have shown that they're not always able to just like stack up points. And the Niners, who knows whether Jimmy G is going to be good Jimmy G or bad Jimmy G. So you know what? Give me the under here. 49's high. I'll take the under. Give me the Chiefs with the points. I like the Niners, but I'm not going to be seduced. Nice try. Seattle Seahawks visiting the LA Chargers. 5.5-point home favorites are the Chargers. 50.5-point line. Anthony, why are the Chargers not getting any respect from Vegas? When they're the favorite, they're not as big a favorite as they should be ever.
They've been showing you why they've been slipping a little bit. You know what I mean? Beginning first few games of the season, Eckler, where was your guy? He wasn't even there. He wasn't relevant. Last few games, you've had him, but they need to clean it up. They need to get in there. They need to clean it up. They need to eat their Wheaties in the morning, have a fucking game plan, and say, hey, I'm going to use my guys, like Mike Williams, that guy. I'm going to use him. I'm not going to start throwing it to Joe Schmo that just came on the field. I'm going to take the over and the points. It's going to go over, and I'm going to take the Seahawks with getting the 5, okay? Because the Chargers did me dirty last week. They're going to win this game, but maybe it's only going to be by 3. Shake your fucking head at me.
All right, man. This coaching staff stinks. For the last time, they just stink. They're not a good coaching staff. Seattle's been a little bit disappointing. Their defense is absolutely atrocious. Both defenses are not that good. I'm gonna go with the over, but I'm gonna lay the points with Seattle in this game.
I will agree that it is also going to be over. The Chargers are weird, man. They're kind of like the Texans a little bit, where the Texans figure out a way to keep it close and lose. The Chargers figure out a way to not like pull away and win. They figure out a way to like be winning, but keep it close and win and not be able to like
running back into their receiver. Eckler is like top 10 in receptions.
Well, he should be.
Fucking insane.
They should be smoking teams, and they don't.
Right. So, I'm
Allen's coming back this week too. No,
he might come back, but he's still not fully healthy, and they're probably, if they'd be smart to ease him back in. I'm going to take the Chargers and lay the points here, and I will also agree with you guys on the over. And the Sunday night game, this one, I am not excited to watch this one at all. Dolphins at home, 7.5-point favorites over the Steelers, I suppose. 40.5-point line. John, Dolphins, Steelers. Is there baseball on?
Yeah, probably watch some baseball or something. But you want some money line mania? Give me
Don't do it.
the Pittsburgh Steelers as the money line, baby. They did it last week. I believe in this team. I believe in the coaching staff. They will somehow, some way win this game. I believe in Mike Tomlin. Last week they really surprised me with that offense. I think they're going to start running the football, keep the ball away from Tua. Give me that the Steelers pull an upset this game.
I don't agree. The Dolphins are going to win. 7.5 is pretty interesting, because the Steelers, like you said, coaching staff, you can't count them out. Pickett's just coming in. They have Deontay Johnson, they have Najee Harris, like they have the offensive line's a little shaky, but I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers getting the 7.5. But I'm gonna take the over on 45.5. I think that's another one. Like for me, the spread and the over are just like they're right at the line, as I like to call. Like you're like double dutching right here. It's like, do I do it? Do I not do it? Do I do it?
I'll agree. I'm going to take the Steelers with the points, but I don't know if they're necessarily going to win the game. And if I had to, I'd probably go over here as well because it's more fun. Monday night. Speaking of, well, less fun. John, is there baseball on Monday also? Chicago Bears visiting the New England Patriots.
Oh, Bears.
8-point. The Patriots are 8-point home favorites. 40-point over under. John, why are the Bears playing in primetime so much?
I have no idea, but I have a question. Is Dr. Z playing this game?
Who?
Zappy?
Zappy. I call him Dr. Z.
I don't know. I actually don't know the answer to that question. I've been reading a lot of Mac Jones blurbs and headlines and whatnot. What do you think? Who do you think should play?
I think they should play Dr. Z. Sorry, I have a new nickname for him, but if Dr. Z plays, that determines how I feel about this game. I'm going to go with the money line for Chicago this game.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Anthony?
Flabbergasted.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Patriots, you want to talk about not counting out coaching. Best coach in the fucking NFL. Best coach ever. Yeah, no, they're not going to win, John. The Bears are not going to win. I really apologize. I'm going to take the Patriots laying the 8, actually. And then that over-under is just like, whoa. But I'm going to take the under. I think just Patriots it's going to be a low-scoring game, but they're just going to shut them out.
The Patriots defense is too good for the Bears offense. The Bears are not going to win this game. I'll give you the other money line upset that you had earlier. This one, the Texans, this one, no. I cannot see the Patriots losing this game on Monday night to the Bears at home. No. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the 8 points with the Patriots here, and I will take the over. Okay. The Patriots have shown the ability to score points, especially with Zappy. Now, the question I have for you is, where do you come up with this Dr. Z from? Where does that?
I just felt like it's they were playing so bad, and then this guy, Zappy came in, so he's kind of like the doctor, the cure to start winning. So I call him Dr. Z.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, it's not so bad. At least it was like a thought process that is like coherent and it made sense.
So I would see if like I said, if Dr. Z was playing this game, I'm not feeling the money line. That's why I said it depends on health. And that's why this is not going to be in my parlay at all.
Okay. All right. So my 3-pick parlay this week will be the over 45.5 Browns Ravens, over 42 Colts Titans, over 47 Falcons Bengals, over City. That's what we're calling that. And it's going to be $1 pays out $6, $6 and change. John, what's your 3-pick parlay? Hit me.
Give me the over for the Chiefs 49ers. Give me the
Moneyline Texans, you son of a bitch. You got to take one of those two, Moneyline Texans or Moneyline Steelers, right?
I'm gonna give the moneyline Steelers.
Okay. And then what's your third pick?
Give me the over for the Atlanta Cincy game.
$1 will pay out $14.
That's another one.
Ooh.
Big one. That's big. Anthony, what do you got?
Got money line madness. I got the Niners money line, Colts
Okay.
money line, and the Giants money line for plus 932.
Nice. Okay. Very nice. So our three-man contest this week was another it's always close between first and second place in these things. This week, first and second place were separated by 1.2 points. Third place, however, was 75 points behind. John does not know how to play DFS. Johnny's lineup last week was just atrocious. He had a 0 out of Olave, who I think got injured. Then we had the Jaguars defense with a -1. Your highest score was Barkley with an 18.5. Everybody else was bad. 60 points, John, in a DFS lineup. 60. That's rough. You don't have bye weeks in a DFS lineup, John. I came in second place, like I said, by 1.2 points. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs stack was nice. Vikings defense was nice. I had the Barkley as well. And then I had Slayton was a letdown. Lockett was a big letdown. And Eno was a huge letdown. Oh, my God. Irv Smith wasn't really great either. Anthony, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs as well. Ramondre Stevenson had a really nice game. And then, oh my gosh, he won it with a 0 out of Valdez Scantling.
I had a couple good picks last week.
Yeah, the Allen, Stevenson, Diggs, Barkley was quite nice. This week, we can step forward into the Always Sunday Fantasy Football League recap. It was a wild one in week 6. A couple of really high scores, a couple of really low scores.
Former champion, the Moth. You are my hero of the week, and I called it. Pouring on and beating on the Gotham Rogues. Gotham Rogues had a really, really horrible week. Scoring 66 points.
They're my GOAT.
So why I say that is because he was 1-4, scoring points, respectable team, just running into the wrong opponent in the wrong week. Really need to pull it out a win against a tough Gotham Rogues team, and he got it done. His team performed. He had Breece Hall go off. That trade early in the year with Albie with Mark Andrews is paying off dividends for him. Scored a couple of his guys scored in the 10s. Great job on finally pulling it out. I called it last week. Great job, the Moth. You are my hero of the week.
And I will piggyback off of that. My GOAT got 66 points in this matchup. The Rogues came into this matchup at 4-1, playing a 1-4 team in his division, and he scored 66 points. He only had one player in double digits. That was his quarterback, Lamar, who only put up 16, and everybody else was just bad. He had Eno, and Eno was disappointing in season long as well. Just bad. So I think 66 points is one of the lowest scores in the league this year. Yeah,
with
Gotham,
an extra flex.
It's even worse than it was before. And so for that reason, the Gotham Rogues are my GOAT.
My GOAT, sir, seems to be sort of a religious thing lately, you know.
Uh-oh.
A couple of the same GOATs in here, you know. And my GOAT this week is Omar's outstanding team. Okay.
Not so outstanding.
No, it's just outstanding. It's showing it's staying out for being really bad.
That is true.
He had a rough week of buys. So he had Derek on a buy, he had Darren Roller on a buy, Josh Reynolds on a buy. Okay. Keenan Allen's banged up, right? So it's not 100% your fault. But you got to figure it out and make it happen. You had MVS for a 0 and Elijah Moore with a 0. Started 2 zeros.
Mm-hmm.
And you went against the guy. You went against a guy who scored only 13 more points from you, which you didn't score a lot in its own. Where he didn't, he had a fucked up week, right? He had a bad start. He had Juju sitting on the bench where he could have looked.
Your Muscles only had 87 points. He only had 87 points in this matchup. He had a negative from his defense. We talked about Jacksonville already. He only had 3 players break double digits, and only one of them was over 15.5 points. That's a very beatable week.
And he didn't do it.
No.
And for that reason, Omar, you're a GOAT.
Terrible. Who's your hero?
I'm sorry?
Who is your hero?
My hero was you. Your Sweep the Leg is my hero for this week. Coming out and shutting down the 5-1 11 Amateurs Pro, or at that time, I think, gave him his first loss, right?
Yeah.
First loss, right here. Shut that abysmal, false, winless record here. Exposed him because the star 4 players, 3 out of the 4 scored under 20, when they normally score over 20 religiously. And just like we said, it's going to happen where we said one of them were going to have it. 3 of them did. And the leg comes in, scores a solid 146. Starts a player that nobody even knows. The guy's like, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That guy starts this guy and comes off and scores double-digit points. Over 28. Almost 30. Yeah. That's what you call a fantasy hero. And for this week, that's the reason why Sweep the Leg is my hero.
Johnny, did you want to talk about 11 Amateurs 1 Pro?
Yeah, what a fraud that guy is. When his 3 star receivers weren't performing, what did we say on this show? He was going to get exposed. And guess what? His players had respectable numbers. It's not like it was terrible. But when you're relying on 3 players and then the rest of your team is dog shit, because we all expected that his running backs, his tight end, his flexes were going to be dog shit. And Patrick Mahomes is going to be Patrick Mahomes. But to be honest with you, this was in the making. Now he shook up his team and traded Cooper Kupp to the Sizzler. So I'm interested in seeing how this team bounces back against, I believe he played the Sizzler this week, correct?
We'll get to that in a minute.
So I'm interested to see how this is, but you are my GOAT of the week because you absolutely sucked this past week.
Yep, 5-0, didn't even break 100. And Anthony was referring to the recent move, I assume, of trading Cooper Kupp from 11 Amateurs to Anthony. Now, I think that some of this was motivated by bye weeks, which is just such a bad way to manage your team. But whatever the case, he added a few players, and Anthony added Cooper Kupp, and now they face each other in the very next week. So my key matchup is that very game, but we'll get to that in a second, because first I want to talk about my hero, which we didn't get a chance to talk about yet, and that was actually the Golden Showers. Okay, the Golden Showers I referenced earlier put up a huge score, 185. Okay, crushed the Sizzler, who again just runs into a buzzsaw. Now all 3 of us have officially run into buzzsaws, right? Like we've all run against the highest scoring team in the league at least 1 week this season. Right, I got the 225. John, you got a 200 against you, right? And now Anthony, you got the 185. So you know what? That's the one where you just kind of be like, hey, you know what? That was a loss. We're moving on, right? We're on to Cincinnati. So the Golden Showers, Burrow, Chase finally blew up. Ayuk had a huge week. He had that Ramondre Stevenson on his team, and then he had the 20 points from the Washington defense to start it off on Thursday night. Disgusting football. It was really bad that week. The game we just saw between the Cardinals and the somebodies and the Saints, that was actually a pretty fun game. But the Golden Showers, he deserves his flowers. 185, highest score of the week, evens his record at 3-3, and he's making a little bit of a push now that he's finding his groove. So now Jonny pulled out a win this week to push his record to 4-2. We already talked about Anthony getting smoked. I pushed my record to 4-2 as well. Tyler Fight Club pulled another L. That was a close game, 132 to 124 to the Drunken Bums. Drunken Bums go to 4-2. Tyler Fight Club falls to 1-5. Tough loss here for Tyler Fight Club. Okay, he had made the trade, moved Mark Andrews to get Joe Mixon, a couple other players, and Marquise Brown, Hollywood, suffers that injury. He was having a great year, suffers that injury. Tyler Fight Club just can't buy a win at this point. That was a tough loss to go to 1-5 right there. Now, with the extra game, the season's not over, but his margin for error right now is like razor thin.
My key matchup of next week is going to be the Beer Muscles and the Golden Showers next week. Both these teams, right now, the Golden Showers can finally put himself in the conversation, and the Beer Muscles is trying to climb his way back to somewhat of a 500 record. So I think that this divisional game has a lot in stake on stake here. It seems that Bobby J right now has 20.2 points on that matchup with
Jawan Johnson.
Jawan Johnson. Like,
2 touchdowns from the clouds.
Like, it's yeah, and so we'll see what happens here. Right now, there's a lot of trades, and I'm not 100% sure how this is going to shake out. Give me the Golden Showers in this game, but this game has a lot of implications for the division. Whoever wins this game puts himself in the driver's seat of really competing in that division. So looking forward to this matchup.
Full agree. Huge game. Good call, John.
My key matchup is Gotham Rogues 4-2, third place in going against Team Blumpkin, 6th, 3-3. Guys are very close and been throwing up a lot of points. So I think they're pretty close in total points scored. So can Narc kind of separate himself from that middle pack guy, or can Team Blumpkin kind of prolong and stretch out and kind of create this tie in the division and see? But Gotham Rogues already had Eno come up with a solid 23. So this is going to be a good game. I do think it's going to be Gotham Rogues winning and separating himself, but it's football, guys. Anything could happen.
That is very, very true. And my key matchup, speaking of anything could happen, is a game where only one thing can happen. Anthony needs to win against 11 amateurs, 1 pro. Okay, these guys just completed a trade where Anthony took a bye week with Cooper Kupp and currently doesn't even have a second flex in his lineup right now. So we don't even know, and I'm sure he doesn't even know what he's going to do.
Oh, stop it. I know.
I mean, I guess he's got somebody on waivers that he's waiting to pick up and put in. But the 11 amateurs, 1 pro got 17 points from Chris Olave and another 10 from Taysom Hill. So he's off to a reasonable start. 11 amateurs, 1 pro at 5-1. Anthony 3-3. This is a big divisional game. Anthony needs to get right. You'd never want to lose to the guy you just traded to. Big game in the division. And then, just furthermore, you just got to win this game because we already talked about the paper tiger. That is 11 amateurs, 1 pro. So we're going to talk quickly about the plus teams and the minus teams in our league. Now, obviously, record is one thing, but when you take a look at each team's roster and then you go a little bit further and you take a look at each team's manager, you can get a feel for teams that you think are on the rise or teams that you think are falling off for the rest of the season.
One of my plus teams, and he has a pretty sweet schedule coming up in the next few weeks, is Sweep the Leg. That's one of my plus teams. I think by the next 2 to 3 weeks, you will see Sweep the Leg leading the Baldwin division, sitting nice and pretty, and that is one of my plus teams.
What about you, Anthony? You got a plus team to talk about?
It's Pretty Boy. Pretty Boy is one of my plus teams here. He's got a pretty he's in the middle of the pack right now as far as record concerned, and he's got a pretty solid team where a lot of people don't. He's got a straight through a decent startable roster. He's got our one of the greatest combos that he might have right now as far as RBs. I could be wrong. Yeah, I just see, and he had running back depth, which I think always kind of helps. All right, some for trades here, but if he just figures out his Aaron Rodgers situation, he'll be okay. I think that's something he needs to do. Figure out if you're keeping Pitts or you're keeping Ertz, and then you figure out your QB, and that's the change for the better.
Yeah, quarterback and tight end are definitely concerns for Johnny Boy. The third receiver is a concern, but as Anthony mentioned, the running back depth is nice to have. One plus team that I can highlight really quickly is the Golden Showers. We just talked about them a few minutes ago. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Brandon Ayuk, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Okay, that's a pretty solid passing attack right there. Running back depth, talking about DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs, Ramondre Stevenson. And then he's got Melvin Gordon, Antonio Gibson, Devontae Smith. He's got Jamal Williams as a handcuff. Got Irv Smith and Hayden Hurst. So his tight end is a little bit of a weak spot, but whose isn't really? Danny Mac's team is really fucking good, guys. His team is really
I was looking to trade, and that's one of the teams I'm looking at, but I'm like, why is he going to want to trade with me?
Yeah. Danny Mac's team is very good. He had to deal with some injuries with Amon-Ra and Swift and whatnot. He already went through the bye weeks with those players. He just had bye week, like 5 guys on bye last week. So he's been through it. He's 3-3. His team is really, really good. And I think he's going to be in the playoffs. So he's one of my plus teams. One of my minus teams is going to be 11 amateurs, 1 pro. Okay, this should be a surprise to nobody.
Ooh.
Okay, he's a first place team right now. He's got 5 wins under his belt, so it's going to be really hard for him to miss the playoffs. I'll just come out and say that. It's going to be hard for him to miss the playoffs, but it's possible. It is possible. He just traded away Cooper Kupp, which is a giant minus on his team. Now he got Kenneth Walker, who I think is a really good addition. He needed that running back. Okay, he got Olave, who's fine, but he's no Cooper Kupp. And he's got question marks all over the rest of his roster. With bye weeks are going to beat the hell out of this team. This is going to be a situation where he's going to be struggling to make the playoffs when it's all said and done. I don't know if I'm going to be in first place, as Johnny mentioned, but I can tell you he's not going to be in first place for too much longer. 11 amateurs, 1 pro, minus. Right now, he should be concerned with one thing, figuring out how he's going to contend with those bye weeks, because right now playoffs are not a guarantee for this 5-win team.
Give me my minus team is Omar's not so outstanding team. Let's give it to him. 1-5, the lowest scoring team in our league. I just don't see this guy going anywhere this year. It was a shit fest last week with the Beer Muscles and Omar's outstanding team, and you just really proved that you are literally bottom of the barrel. I just don't see him making it to the playoffs this year. However, I do think that he will win some games that determine some standings. So I do have him maybe winning 1 or 2 more games this year. I think his team is not as terrible as what people make it seem. But I just think it's just a matter of managing your team better. He finally benched Russell Wilson for Dak Prescott. That's a plus. Maybe Keenan Allen comes back and healthy. Darren Waller comes back and starts contributing. Miles Sanders comes back from his bye, and Elijah Moore figures out a role on that Jets offense. So a lot of question marks here, a lot of potential and things that can turn around and win you some weeks. But right now, it's just not looking good for him. He's one of my minus teams, and he will not make the playoffs, most definitely.
Yeah, his roster, it's like weird because he does have, like you mentioned, his team, if you look at his players, he does have good players, but he just can't buy a win.
Yeah, I agree with Omar because his team is actually not that bad. Our good old friend, Bobby J, Beer Muscles. A little minus.
He's
for
a
me.
minus. Uh-oh.
I mean, he did, for the record, just have that Jawan Johnson situation. His quarterback, okay, he has Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo. All right, Tyreek Hill is phenomenal, and then now it's all right. DJ Moore, yikes! You don't want nobody on that team. Juju, who just traded, who's been consistent. That's I think what people expected him to be though. RB1's like Dameon Pierce is your RB1. Like if that was your RB2, you'd be excited. Like that's his RB1, and then his RB2 is that question like where is his RB2? I'm okay with Cooks. I like Cooks, and then his other flex is just not his team's a little banged up. It's a little light in some areas for sure. Tight end, I don't think for him is going to always be that. He does have Schultz though, but yeah, he has lots of question marks on his starting lineup.
My other minus team is the Drunken Bums.
And then bum-ass bums?
The Bums. So my two minus teams are in first place right now, guys. They're the two division leaders. It's the Drunken Bums and the 11 Amateurs 1 Pro. The Bums, I can say they're probably not going to make the playoffs. Okay, their roster stinks. First of all, all right, I told him I was going to do this. So it's not as bad. Like I typically wouldn't say this. Like I wouldn't be like, okay, this is what this person DM'd me and whatever. He reached out to me the other day and asked me if there's something I can do about ad drops because he saw that somebody picked somebody up and then dropped them to pick somebody else up, presumably because they changed their mind. He didn't specify who it was, but he then was not able to pick the person that was dropped up and then use them to, quote, try to win. Now, first of all, ad drops are first come, first serve. Okay, so somebody else picked up that other guy first and then decided, okay, I want to change my mind and pick somebody else, and they did. Okay, I got that message from the Bums on Saturday. Okay, so it means that he didn't check his roster all week. And then Saturday went in there and was like, oh, I need a player, and then looked and saw that the person he wanted had been picked up and then dropped. So I don't want to hear it because you should have been there on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday to like check your team. Okay, so don't come to me Saturday and tell me, can you change the rules so that guys can't change their mind midweek?
That's a strategy.
That's a strategy. That's what I told him. So I said, honestly, dude, I was like, first of all, I would have to check. I'm not sure if I can control that in any way. I'd have to look. But secondly, I probably wouldn't change it if I could, because not only like is it your responsibility, it's first come, first serve. People probably like somebody might have had to bid on that guy. Like you might have to bid fab dollars. So you have every right to drop him if you decide to change your mind because you bid fab dollars on him if that's the case. So if you want to bid fab dollars and then drop a guy a couple days later that you paid for, that's your prerogative to do that. You can manage the team any way you want. And I told him there's also strategy involved in that because and I told him, I said, please believe that if I'm head to head against you and you're asleep at the wheel and I know that you need a guy, I'm going to pick him up so that you can't use him. And then I'm going to roast you on the podcast. Furthermore, a couple of years ago, the last championship I won, I think it was kickers or some player, I picked up a couple of kickers and then dropped them so that my opponent couldn't because they weren't paying attention. And I think it was the Bums. I won that fucking game. And I don't feel bad about it at all because he wasn't paying attention. So no, we're not going to change that rule. Go look at your team on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. Don't wait till Saturday to check your roster and realize you have players. And furthermore, I then went back to look at his roster. He's got three defenses on his team. 3.
It's not a super flex defense league.
2 defenses are on bye this week. So he picked up a third defense. Now, the Arizona defense, fortuitously for him, came up with 17 points, which is great. He has 3 defenses on his team, 2 quarterbacks, and 2 tight ends. And he's complaining to me about not being able to pick up players. He's got 7 spots on his roster, on a 16-player roster, occupied with defenses, quarterbacks, and tight ends. And he's crying to me because he went on Saturday and a player was not available on waivers. Minus.
I don't get it. I don't get
Minus. Who else has a plus or a minus that they haven't talked about yet? I lost track.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my last minus is going to be the Toddler Fight Club. Albie, you've been falling asleep behind the wheel. I think you finally kind of woke up and started realizing, oh shit, the guy that I entrusted to draft my team absolutely drafted a absolute dog shit team. Then you press the panic button and you start sending out trades when it's one too late and you're sitting at 1-5 right now. Now, Albie, I do think you're gonna like Omar's outstanding team. You will win a few more games, but right now you are sitting at the bottom of the basement, the second to last. I just don't see it happening. And the J Chuck division is extremely, extremely competitive. I know that we talked about the Moth being 2-4, but he's a better 2-4 team than what people think. And you're just in the wrong division, guy. It's you're in the wrong division, buddy.
Go ahead. No. I'm just saying, like you have to pick yourself because you picked last, so you had no choice. You have to discuss yourself. But like, I just want to hear how you think you're a plus team.
Sizzler has been day trading in fantasy football and has made some moves and some things around here. Has a couple matchups, a couple hard games, an average rest of the season. But right now at a 3-3 in a division where the current leader of it is going to fall, and this guy is going to make it into the playoffs. And then once you're in the playoffs, anything could happen in the playoffs. You know, just adding that Cooper Cup, it's tremendous. You got a Cooper Cup, an Austin Eckler, and a Justin Herbert. So in Hawkinson, your positions, there's at least a top three, potential top three finish in that position. So I think that's a guy that's gonna plus up.
Boss. My last plus team is Team Blumpkin. Okay, now Team Blumpkin, if you look at his roster, that's another really good roster. They're 3-3. They're actual, like, they got a bye week right now, but Josh Allen, Gabe Davis stack is beastly. You got Dalvin Cook on a bye week. And then now Jeff Wilson, before when I picked this team, Jeff Wilson was the starter in San Francisco. And his 1-2 punch was Dalvin Cook, Jeff Wilson. Now his 1-2 punch is Dalvin Cook.
I don't even know.
That is the end of it. It's with Dalvin Cook and then Dalvin Cook again. He picked up Dante Foreman, and this was actually the point I was about to make. He's got Kelsey, Lockett. He's got McLaurin, who might get a bump with Heineke, believe it or not. He's got good players. I think it's a question of team management for Blumpkin. So he's a plus team in the matter of fact that he's got players like Josh Allen. If you have Josh Allen and Gabe Davis and Dalvin Cook, as Anthony was talking about, you have number one overall potential at a quarterback. You have number one overall potential at running back. You have a top wide receiver, and you have a bunch of other good receivers. You have the number one tight end, arguably. You're going to win games. Can you manage the rest of those weak spots on your lineup? That's going to be the big question. Can you do that? You'll make the playoffs, and you'll be competitive. If not, you're not going to be able to do it. But for now, he's a plus team, because he has a track record of success in the past.
My last one is going to be the Gotham Rogues.
Ooh.
Although he did a shit job last week, let's not ignore.
We're talking about the future. We're talking about the future.
Yeah, the future.
Don't bring up old shit.
Yeah, so I think that number one, he's got Lamar Jackson. Anybody that starts off with Lamar Jackson, beast. Nick Chubb, beast. That 2 punch right there is great. He's got really strong receivers with DK Metcalf, Drake London, and Devontae Adams. The question mark is, his second running back, Damian Harris, kind of comes back. Let's see what he can do. His tight end, he's got a solid tight end. His question marks on his team is really that RB2, those flex positions. Can they perform for him? I think that the one thing I think that Narkowitz is really good with is managing his team. well. But I also think that with him being a plus team, him not doing trades because he's almost impossible to trade. He's going to be in the playoffs, but I think that him not doing trades is going to bite him in the butt later in the year when he gets into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a fair point. It's hard to manage your team strictly off of the draft and the waivers. It's difficult to do. Anthony, you got one more team to talk about, right?
It's tough because I think the person's team isn't terrible, but it's another one of those things. Management here is the Moth. I think actually could be a plus guy here because of the team. But because I also pick last, sometimes it doesn't really work in my favor.
Yeah,
he's got Trevor Lawrence and Geno Smith. Now Geno Smith, has been better than anybody's ever thought. But can he continue? Will that continue? Is he a playoff guy? Is he going to get you there? I don't know. CeeDee Lamb, I think is going to be better than Prescott back. Waddle is a fine his 1, 2, 3 receivers I like, and then Breece Hall now coming out of it. Mostert is like hot and cold. He's just brittle as shit. So his once you get to that, after you get to that, it starts to thin out, right? Like Hilaire's okay. He ended up doing that trade and getting Mark Andrews, which is nice. And then Mooney is just scary at all hell. And then depth isn't really there because another guy holding QBs, 2 tight ends. You have Mark Andrews. Why do you need another tight end?
He has 3 tight ends.
You have Mark Andrews. Why do you need 2 more tight ends? I don't care. At that point, that's part of this management thing. They're one of those guys where if they don't manage their team right, they're gonna slip and fall, sir.
So there you have it. The pluses, the minuses. We've covered all 12 teams in the league. Fellas, it's been a blast. Good luck this week since none of you guys are playing against me. And I will see you next week where it's always Sunday.
Later.